Hello and welcome to the latest Royal Roundup from TalkTV. So, pop the kettle on. This is The Royalty. I'm Sarah Hewson. Coming up on today's show, we discuss the King's latest commitment to tackling food waste, as well as a promotion for his close aide dubbed Major Eye Candy. Plus, yet another cartoon takes a swipe at Harry and Meghan. Joining me to discuss all of that and lots more, a Royal Commentator and TalkTV regular Afua Hagan and The Sun's Royal Editor Matt Wilkinson. Hello to both of you again. Now, the King's increasing concern over the cost of living crisis was the driving force behind an ambitious new legacy project that aims to reduce food waste. The Coronation Food Project will be launched to coincide with the monarch's 75th birthday in November. Matt, tell us about this project. It's a real passion project for the King, isn't it?
It's this idea of getting lots of organisations through, getting lots of companies and food companies involved in saving food waste, not throwing away, all the wasted food. And we're going to see it on his birthday. So it's leaked out recently that this is going to happen as a celebration when his birthday in November. It's interesting because he's been, for the last couple of years, he's been talking about this. It's been a little pet project for him. I was at a job in Milton Keynes earlier this year, and there was actually area managers from Tesco, Asda, Iceland, and he pulled them aside and he said, "What are you doing with food waste? I have this charity called the Felix Project that I work with that deals with all your food waste, the food that you'll throw away. They put it in big freezers and then they can give it to good causes." So 6 months down the line, he's now actually putting this into, as you say, a legacy project. His first real post-coronation legacy project is something that he cares deeply about. He's also cares deeply about the cost of living crisis, obviously, that's making lots of headlines. And I think it was last year he conferred an honour to Martin Lewis from Money
Saving Expert.
Yeah, and he pulled him aside and had a little chat with him about the cost of living crisis and had a little tutorial with Martin Lewis, and he began to learn about the problems, because it's difficult. He lives in castles and palaces. It's difficult to know what is happening to members of the public.
It's something that he's touched on a lot, isn't it?
Exactly.
Not least of all in his first Christmas message. That's when we really heard him talking about this, about families not being able to pay their bills, heat their houses, feed their families. And so he's using his 75th birthday as a vehicle to launch this.
Absolutely, and it's a great time to do it because, of course, 75, it's a milestone and lots of attention will be on him. And it's great of him to share that limelight, to divert some of this attention to this really great project that will solve two things. One is food waste, something that he's passionate about. As an environmentalist, you want to prevent food waste, right? And second is the cost of living crisis. And actually what this project is about joining lots of dots. So how do we get food from restaurants, from bars, from shops, from supermarket to food banks and centres, community centres and places that need them? You know, you've got schools on the list as well. And this is about getting them from one place to the other. So whether that's freezing them and getting them by electric lorry from one place to the other, so they can either be given out or they can be repurposed into ready meals, they can be frozen. It's how you harness the food waste before it goes off and get it quickly and efficiently to places that can, in the grassroots, that can get it out to the people who need it the most. So this is a brilliant project to do that.
And it's another example of him as this convener of people. He manages to pull all of these different organisations together in order to make this happen. What about at home, though? Does he practice what he preaches when it comes to food waste? I mean, the royal family are known for being quite frugal, aren't we? We talked about the late Queen and her Tupperware.
Well, yeah, listen, it's a difficult topic because they can be criticised for it, because obviously we spoke about William recently saying that he wants to end homelessness, but he has lots of properties. The King wants to end food waste, but I imagine there is a lot of food waste to...
Well, look at a state banquet, for example.
Exactly, yeah. But obviously... there was something cooking around about the cake, I believe. Yes. That he likes to make sure that he has a slice of cake every day to use it up before it goes stale.
Yes, so he doesn't get given a new cake every day. Served tea and cake in the afternoons, I think, isn't it? And typically they would have served a different cake each day, but the King says, no, we don't start a new one until this one's finished.
But don't we all eat every single slice of cake? Because we do.
I know,
I mean, exactly. We do in my house.
Let them eat cake. Speaking of Prince William, he will never tell people not to get on planes for the environment. That's according to a Kensington Palace spokesperson, speaking ahead of the Prince of Wales's trip to Singapore for the Earthshot Prize Awards. The comments came after it was revealed that Prince William will be flying commercially to Southeast Asia next month for the 3rd annual prize presentation. Matt, you're going to be out in Singapore for this. It's a conflict, isn't it, for many members of the royal family, the travel and their environmentalism. And we have had Prince Harry, for example, with his eco-tourism company and talking about the amount of time people should fly. Prince William said, it's not my place. Is that right?
Well, the issue... Well, I'll be flying commercially, by the way. No private jets for me, unfortunately.
Not this time.
Not this time. Can't afford it. But no, the issue here is that it's going to be a whole week-long Earthshot Prize. So all 12 finalists will be there from across, 4 corners of the globe. The celebrities will be there. They'll be announced this weekend, hopefully. And they'll all be flying in. So the point is, he's saying, you have to come to Singapore. We want to host the Earthshot Prize in different places around the world, and you have to get here somewhere. I'm not going to tell you not to fly. I can't tell anybody not to fly. He's very much aware that he could be criticised for, when you see things like Davos or you see some climate change conferences, you go to the local airport and there's tons of private jets. So
yeah.
Everybody who attends is being told to fly commercial, but he's kind of fending off any criticism that might come his way. But if you're going to have this award around the world, people have to get there. So I don't think we can be criticised for going out to get the best brains together to come up with solutions to fight climate change.
Climate anxiety is huge, isn't it?
This is interesting because he's actually he's enlisting a bunch of social media influencers. So throughout the whole week, he'll be trying to engage with younger people who they point out, as you say, climate anxiety has never been so high. All the research shows that, amongst children, amongst young people. So he's enlisting, I've never seen the royal family do this before, to get to so-called Generation Z or Zoomers by having, TikTok videos, Twitter videos with people that young people would interact with to get this kind of message across, to fight the anxiety, but also to encourage greater optimism, which is one of the reasons I like the Earthshot Prize, because it's not just, looking at your feet moaning that everything's going wrong. It's saying, here are actual proper solutions. And it's
what can we do about it?
It's a modern approach from William, I think. A, for the social media influencers, and B, to look for optimism rather than pessimism.
And actually, it's very savvy on behalf of Prince William to do this, because as we talk about the future of the royal family, it is Gen Z, is the young people that are going to be alive the longest while the royal family goes along. So it's really, really great of them to capture their imagination now and be talking about things that they care about.
And is this a way in? Because
Absolutely.
that is really hard for the royal family to be relatable.
Yeah.
And relevant.
And it's they're definitely a hard generation to crack. And this is the way to do it. Like you so rightly said, talk optimistically at providing solutions about something that they really care about, and do it in a medium that they can understand, that they relate to, and that's social media.
Meanwhile, on the subject of travel, it's emerged that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex flew off on a private jet to enjoy a Caribbean holiday after attending a conference that warned of how the blight of climate change is damaging children's mental health, something we've just been discussing. Harry's been questioned about the use of private jets before, hasn't he, Afua? He's talked about the need for security. How does this sit?
I think on the back of us just talking about the Earthshot Prize and Prince William talking about optimism and plans going forward, it doesn't sit great. But 70% of the royal family, and that obviously doesn't include the Sussexes in this particular thing that I read, do use private jets for their travel. And I think probably that this is
where other options aren't viable. Is that the
around
kind of modus operandi, Matt? They look at...
Well, sometimes it's that they'll fly on an RAF jet abroad. Other times it's helicopters.
So allowing for schedules and security. And I'm sure, and for this particular occasion, they will probably cite that there was security concerns, and that's why they decided to take a private jet. But I think there really needs to be an element of practicing what you preach. So if you are going to say, you know, Prince Harry's been involved with an ecotourism company, and if you are going to say that we need to do better for the planet, for our kids, for the environment, flying is a huge part of that, and perhaps flying private jet after you just had that conference isn't the best way to practice what you preach. But there's exceptions to every rule, and I'm sure that's what was the case in this particular case.
So I was told this summer that they will never catch private jets again. So it would only be commercial, almost like a deliberate policy that they will be. When they went to Invictus, it was all commercial jets. Okay, when they go in there, it was all commercial jets. This, I try to be fair. This time they went to Cahoon, which is an island where billionaires go to avoid millionaires.
Oh, wow.
So you
yeah.
can't go there on Ryanair or EasyJet. I think they kind of had
I mean, there are other
catch-
places you can
There are other
go.
places you can go, yeah, but it's a shame that they've been caught, because I think they've deliberately tried to reposition themselves as people who don't catch private jets, and they wanted to always be seen.
What you mean, don't
photographed.
catch private jets that we know about?
Exactly. They're happy to
saying?
be photographed in recent times at Dusseldorf and at LAX, and getting off at LAX on commercial jets, because that was their kind of new push to say, look, we catch commercial jets. So they've kind of been caught out this time, but it was a billionaire island that I think you maybe only get there on a private jet or a super yacht.
Yeah.
So.
Let's stay with Prince Harry and Meghan, because they've been satirised in a new episode of Family Guy. Shall we take a look?
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense.
Now, after South Park took a swipe earlier in the year, this is the latest. Is it a problem for them, Afua, do you think? Are they happy to be the butt of jokes? Does it show that they're still relevant? Or is it humiliating?
I actually think that they probably don't care. I think that they know that they are, you know, sort of tabloid celebrity fodder, as is loads of people at the moment. Loads of people, you know, Britney Spears has a book out, Jada Pinkett Smith has a book out. There's lots of chat about lots of celebrities at the moment, including them. And I think that they know that they are just going to be spoken about. They're part of pop culture, you know? So I think they probably just accept that this is going to happen. I don't think they're happy or sad about it. I don't think they care one way or the other. I think they're probably just living their lives. But I think that there is a little bit of an unhealthy obsession when it comes to Harry and Meghan, that people will write about them and satirise them, talk about them all the time. It's just sort of like verging on to the weird for me. But like I said, they are part of pop culture, and I think, you know, they will accept that people will talk about them. But I do think we kind of need to dial down on it a little bit. You know, Meghan Markle spoke, and Prince Harry actually, has spoken about mental health issues. And we know that mental health issues can arise when bullying happens. And I think, you know, it needs to be dialed down a bit.
I mean, this is sort of mocking the Netflix deal and, you know, the fact they didn't do an awful lot for it. For example, it kind of follows on from South Park, which was the worldwide privacy tour.
Which was hugely damaging, by the way, like worldwide, that South Park episode, as you talk about pop culture, and I completely agree with you, they are now celebrities. So they're now able to be mocked on these kind of TV shows.
But they want to be taken seriously, don't they?
Yeah, so I don't think they'll be particularly happy that they are now being mocked freely. I mean, it's such a shame, the journey that they've gone to, they've been on. They're now the butt of the jokes on American. I don't think they wanted to be the butt of the jokes on Family Guy and places like that. They are now celebrities that are, you know, like Britney Spears or something like that. That pop culture can mock them and laugh at them. So it's sad.
And Afua, you mentioned, you know, Britney Spears got a book, Jada Pinkett Smith's got a book. There are rumours,
Yes,
that Meghan might be planning a book. Is there anything in them?
Rumours are rumours, aren't they? I mean, honestly, we just don't know. We know that there was a deal done with Penguin. I think there's 6 books in the deal, and we've only had 1 from Prince Harry, Fred Spare. So what could the rest be? We don't know. If Meghan pens a book, will it be about everything that happened during the time that they decided to leave the royal family? I don't think it will all be about that. I'd like to think, and I know that there's so much more to her and the both of them. I don't think that the royal family need to be running scared in any way, shape or form. I actually do think she probably will bring a book out, but I don't think it will be what people will expect.
Matt?
I'm told well, for the last time everyone I spoke to, there are no plans for her, but I wouldn't rule it out. You never know what she can deliver in 4 or 5 years' time if she wanted to. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
I don't think we'll be seeing I don't think we'll be seeing an announcement saying that she's bringing out a book. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Because they've said, you know, look back is done.
looking
That's
forward
so
now.
last year.
Yeah.
It's all about the kind of looking forward projects now, which a memoirs, you know, talking about her time in the royal family and whatever else wouldn't fit in with, would it?
But Harry's had his say numerous times.
Yeah.
Meghan hasn't. Is the world ready for, you know, we fell apart when Harry brought out Spare. We're ready for a Meghan book. That would be astonishing, but it could well happen in a few years' time.
And that's a good point that you made, actually, that, you know, Prince Harry has had his say and Meghan has been stoically very, you know, just silent about it. And
Well, she had the Oprah interview,
That's
didn't
true.
she? She
Yeah.
got to have her say there.
that's
But a lot's
true.
happened since then as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think if she does bring out a book, I don't think it will be look back. I think, like I said, there's so much more to her. And I think that's probably what the surprise will be, that it's, you know, just a great book.
The Crown Series 6 is coming out very soon. Princess Diana's famous landmine walk has been recreated in the final season of it. And Netflix bosses have discussed how they keep a wall with Prince Harry around this topic when they are in talks. It is an interesting one, isn't it, Matt? Because this is a programme which, particularly in these latter series, is looking at a very difficult time in the lives of William and Harry. We saw in the last series the breakdown of the marriage. We are going to see in this series the death of Princess Diana and the aftermath of that, the devastation after that. And yet Prince Harry is very much in cahoots with Netflix, and they are one of his, you know, paymasters.
Absolutely.
Effectively.
I mean,
how does that work?
The first 4 or 5 episodes, as I understand it, are going to centre around the death of Princess Diana. It's going to be, you know, the storyline will go over several episodes. So it amazes me that he would say that in this interview. We said, oh, there's a wall around it. We don't talk to Harry. That means that it has come up in his head and he's thought, how do we address the death
This is
of
a conflict
Princess?
of interest.
It's a conflict of
isn't it?
interest that they must have sat there and had a strategy meeting and said, oh, we've got the Duke of Sussex coming down in half an hour, and we've just had a meeting on how we're, you know, this episode of The Crown, how they're dealing with his mother's death. I mean, I'm very surprised that they haven't. It might just be a line that he's come out with and said, oh, there's a wall around it, we don't talk, because it would stop anyone asking any more questions. But he's there. He's a highly paid star, basically, that you are paying for numerous shows. He's sitting with you in a meeting. Why on earth wouldn't you ask him, or
he would say,
or
what
put
are
him
you
in
going to
touch
do?
with Peter
How are you
Morgan?
going to deal with this? I'm not sure about this. I'm not happy with my mother being portrayed in this way. I mean, can you put a firewall around something like that?
Well, I mean, he thinks, this particular exec thinks that you can, but I actually don't think that you can. But I wonder if Prince Harry has had any conversations with Netflix about The Crown, about what they plan to depict, about what's in the series. The thing is, The Crown is such a huge juggernaut. There's nothing that he can do about it, you know? And also, these are historical events that happened. He can't undo that.
Well, I mean,
so,
it does portray historical events that happen, but
with, of course,
a lot of artistic licence.
Absolutely.
And we've talked on previous episodes about, you know, this device where we see Diana coming back as a ghost, for example. I mean, I'm not sure that you'd be particularly happy
about that. And even, you know, in the pictures that we've had of Princess Diana recreating this landmine walk, you know, the charity that she has on the vest that she's wearing is different.
Absolutely iconic images from the time.
Absolutely, but it's a different charity in The Crown than she actually supported in real life. So in real life, the vest said Halo Project.
Yes.
And in The Crown, it says Relief Aid. Why have they decided to go with a different charity? I mean, things like that. You wonder, I mean, why would you do that? Why would you change that historical reference? There's things like that. And so I don't think you can really put a firewall around it. But also, you've got the kind of conflict where, like we said, Netflix are a company that Prince Harry is working for, in conjunction with Archwell Productions. I think they would like to keep the two things separate, but I don't know how long they can pretend to do that for.
Netflix have been sort of drip feeding little images and snippets of what we can expect. From what you've seen so far, Matt, what does it look like, this final series?
Yeah, do you know what? I think, so last year, well, I'm only briefly secrets, but last year they gave certain journalists, they allowed them to watch the episode.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
It was under the agreement that they didn't write about it. However, certain journalists did write about it, and so we all knew we knew the mistakes, so we knew the errors. This time they're not doing that.
Yeah.
So the well's not going to be poisoned before people actually watch it. So I think they're Netflix or the producers and stuff like that had a bit of damaged pride from last year that everyone was criticising. It's actually quite good TV to watch. So I think they're really trying this time to keep it all under wraps.
Everybody gets it at the same time. There's no previews.
So we've seen that there will be. We know that William and Catherine's romance will be one of the episodes. We know that there will be the funeral procession. They won't show the crash. So they've been adamant that they're not going to show the crash in Paris where Princess Diana died. And
we do see the aftermath, don't we? Because we saw, I think when they were last year, we saw images of the wreckage of the Mercedes that they'd recreated. And so, of course, it is going to be controversial, but we all have to wait until, what date is it? The
16th
of November.
And
it's in 2 parts.
Yes, so then the 14th of December.
Just to keep everyone waiting. Yeah. We will all be there first thing on the morning of the 16th. Now, a royal aide dubbed Major Eye Candy, set to become the King's new super equerry. Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson, famed for appearing with the royals in a kilt, will organise King Charles's private affairs. Matt, this is a promotion for him, and this is an individual who will have been used to working behind the scenes, but found himself thrust into the spotlight around the time of the death of the late Queen and the accession of his boss to the throne. And he's gone viral himself, hasn't he? Yeah,
I mean, he first got an army of fans. I think he was first seen with the Queen at Balmoral in his kilt, and I think social media took over, and I think he was called Major Eye Candy, etc. And he was getting lots of fans. So whenever I post anything about him, there's lots of people that comment and tweet and retweet. And the issue with him is that he's a well-respected soldier who was seconded to work for the Queen, and he's had such a popular role within the royal family. The King and Queen have taken to him, and his army duties, he was a real soldier in the brigade in Scotland, that's why he's allowed to wear the kilt, will end in 18 months, which would have meant he'd have lost his job as an equerry.
Right.
And it's quite a clever move by the King, I think, because sometimes the Buckingham Palace can look old and stuffy. It's quite Edwardian, Victorian in many ways. To get a young man, we're talking about William modernising Kensington Palace, to get a young man that is popular on social media and to say, I'm going to keep him on. He's not just going to be seconded as my equerry, he's going to become a super equerry within 18 months. He might not be wearing his kilt after that, sorry to disappoint everybody, because he won't be in the army, but he will have much more. He's already having a much larger role in their kind of personal affairs, communication, and because he works so closely with the King and Queen, they've decided that he's the guy that Charles doesn't have anyone at the moment. We had the incident with Michael Fawcett, obviously, who was a very, very, his closest aide. He's, for many reasons, is no longer working with Charles. So there are many roles there to be filled, and they've chosen a 40-year-old man who's got a very, a wide-ranging popularity on social media. It's a clever move.
Yeah, Afua, do you think it's a shrewd
absolutely
decision?
Absolutely. To get someone who has gone viral themselves, has a following that can only shine a good light on King Charles and Queen Camilla as well. And like we talked about, the way for them to maintain their popularity and grow that is through the younger generation, is through social media and things like that.
Not looking so stuffy.
Yeah, not looking so, you know, kind of old-fashioned.
Stage and
yeah, and they need to get a bit more modern, a bit more cool. And like you said, someone who has a huge following on social media already, a bit of eye candy, you know, can't do any harm.
I mean, a huge following on social media, we should say, without actually trying, apart while just doing his job.
Just showing up in a kilt.
Yeah, he's not just an attractive man. I mean, he's being taken on.
He's obviously extremely good at his job and very loyal.
But the kilt helps.
Apparently, yeah.
From our resident Scot
Thank
sitting here. That is all we've got time for this week. My thanks to Afua and Matt. If you want to join in with the debate, please leave a comment and make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss a single episode. We'll be back next week with all of the latest on the royal family. We hope you can join us. We'll see you then.